Professor Manoj Kumar Pradhan, Principal, DPIASE Berhampur, Keynote Speaker Professor Pradhan, Guest of Honor Professor Vrindavan Misra, former Principal of this institute, Professor De, Professor Barik, Professor Sethi, Seminar Secretary, and all other dignitaries present in this seminar hall, faculty members of the DPIASE, and dear students. I'm really very happy to be here on this auspicious day of this 2-day seminar on a very pertinent topic, restructuring higher education for global competitiveness under NEP 2020. My previous speakers have highlighted all the areas. I think nothing is left for me. And now it is going to be launch time. I know you all must be feeling hungry. So I will not take much time, but I will try my best to summarize the thing, what exactly we need for this restructuring. What is the meaning of this restructuring? Because we have already gone through the policy, I think completed more than 5 years. Policy was released on 29th July 2020. Completed 5 years. We took more than 5 years to develop the policy. Then we have completed 5 years in implementing the policy. Now we are delivering on this restructuring. Restructuring means it is not physical restructuring. It is restructuring our curriculum, restructuring our pedagogy, restructuring our assessment process, restructuring our environment, institutional environment, institutional culture. That is why we say transformation. So that is why what we have now we are discussing or deliberating upon. Just we have to understand what exactly we need out of this deliberation. What is our role and responsibility? What we can do? What is the need of our? Because when we are talking about global competitiveness, what does it mean? We have to compete with other countries. Our children should be in a position to compete with the children of other countries. So what type of education we should provide at the school level or at the higher education level so that our student can compete with others. They will not feel inferior to others. So what type of education? Are we satisfied with the education, what we are providing to our students, both in school and higher education level? I think we are not satisfied. If I ask this question, because what we are doing, we are transacting the content. We are helping our students in acquiring mastery over the content, what is there in the syllabus, what is there in the textbook. Our students are securing 100 out of 100. 90%, 95%, 80%, 70%. But when we actually measure their performance, particularly in terms of learning outcome, there is a wide gap. Can our students compete with the other students of other countries with this wide learning gap? The average score in National Achievement Survey in 2021 for class 10 students was 38, below 40%. In board exam, our students secure 90%, 100%, more than 70%. What does it mean? Our previous speaker was highlighting about Prof. NCERT conducts this achievement survey every 3 years. In other countries, they conduct this National Achievement Survey, developed countries, for higher education. But we don't conduct this survey in higher education. But what is the conclusion? Conclusion is our students, both at school education and higher education, are not having age appropriate and stage appropriate skills and competency. That is, this is true. We have to accept this. Who is responsible? We all are responsible. We all are responsible. Our classroom is responsible. The way we are transacting the content, that is not going to serve the purpose. That is why what we need a competency-based knowledge orientation. Competency-based knowledge orientation, not content-based knowledge orientation. Competency-based knowledge orientation will address this issue. Really, it will bring about change in the entire system of education, not only in higher education, but also in school education. That is why NEP 2020 has recommended competency-based curriculum, competency-based examination, outcome-based education, criterion-based grading system. All these have been recommended by NEP. So this is clear. As a teacher educator or would-be teacher, what is our duty and responsibility? Our duty and responsibility is to develop the skills and competency among the students, what they need exactly in 21st century. The content what we are teaching, that is not going to serve the purpose. What we are teaching today, what is there in our curriculum today, that will be irrelevant tomorrow. Because the jobs available in the market, when we are students, we have never thought of. Similarly, after 10 years, what type of job will be available, we do not know. So content, what we are teaching, how it is going to serve that? That is why we have to shift our focus from this content mastery to competency mastery. And this competency-based knowledge orientation is the need of hour. That will really bring about change in the entire structure of education. That is why we came out with the learning outcome in 2017 for elementary, then secondary. And at the same time, UGC also came out with the learning outcome in 2020. And NEP 2020 has taken cognizance of this, and our NCERT is talking about learning standard. What are the curricular goals? What are the aims of education? What are the competencies we expect our student to attain? What are the learning outcomes? So this is number one. Number two, we are in 21st century. And we all are familiar with digital technology. We have mobile, we have laptop, and our students are more familiar. And in this case, my previous speakers also highlighted on this. What we need? We need digital and technological proficiency. When we're talking about our curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, that means this digital and technology, that digital technology should be an integral part of our curriculum. And we have to develop this digital technological proficiency among the teachers, among the students. And we should take advantage of this digital technology. We are talking about ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, and how effectively we can take advantage of this. How can we bring about change in our pedagogical approach? How can we integrate this technology so that we can take full advantage of this and really transform our higher education, and we can make our students technologically and digitally sound. That means they will have the proficiency, and so that they can adjust with any situation. They can convert the challenges into opportunities if they have the skills, if they have the competency. This is number two. That is why we are talking about blended learning. We are talking about integrating technology. All the things we are talking. Third thing, previous speakers also have highlighted, is not something new. What we need? We need interdisciplinary understanding. Interdisciplinary understanding. Why? Because in current scenario, we have subject boundaries. We have subject boundaries. And even in our school stage, in our higher education stage, what we are doing? We have teachers for a specific subjects. We have mathematics teacher, we have science teacher, we have language teachers, we have social science teacher. We are preparing, this is a teacher education institution, we are preparing teachers. What type of training we are giving to our students? We are preparing them to teach these 4 subjects. For pedagogy, we are not going beyond that. But NEP is talking about multidisciplinary approach, interdisciplinary approach. If we go on imparting such type of training to our students, how can we implement the recommendation of NEP 2020? How can we provide them this multidisciplinary approach, how to use this multidisciplinary approach in the classroom, interdisciplinary approach. That is why there is need of this interdisciplinary understanding. And previous speakers also highlighted on this. 64 college. What is this 64 college? Is it interdisciplinary? We have to understand. It was there in our Gurukul system. It was there in our ancient universities, in Nalanda, Takshashila. And what we can learn from that? Our approach was interdisciplinary. Our approach was multidisciplinary. When we say 64 college, it is not only art. It is not only singing, painting. It includes the discipline knowledge what we are imparting today. It includes the vocational knowledge, vocational skills what we have neglected. Now, Korea is a developed country because they have taken advantage of this. And professional knowledge is also coming under the 64 college. And the fifth component is the soft skill, how to communicate, how to behave, how to talk. These are integral part of the 64 college. But if you compare it with the current scenario, what we are doing, we are imparting only discipline knowledge to our students, and that is with rigidity. I am a math teacher, I will be teaching math only. Science teacher will be teaching science only. No interaction, no sharing. We are talking about a project-based approach. We are talking about group work, talking about cross-cutting area. That is why NCERT has highlighted different cross-cutting areas. And our students should be connected to their root. We are talking about Indian ethos, Indian knowledge system, values, all this. Are we doing that? That is why there is need of developing this interdisciplinary understanding so that we can really bring about a transformation in our higher education system. We have to introduce this multidisciplinary approach. I'll give you one example. In Russia, but now some of friends were talking about that there is a brain drain. Our talents are serving for America, are serving for other developed countries. They are leaving because of many reasons why they are leaving. And what we can do in Russia, I will give you the example of Russia. In Russia, once we visited, because our Honorable Prime Minister visited that institute, he was highly impressed that he wanted that one team should visit. And we visited that institute. And the President Putin is the president of that institute. That is, they have one center for gifted learner. They identify the talent from the beginning to prevent brain drain. And what they do, not like our engineering colleges, what we are doing, we have best talents in IITs. What we are doing, we are providing them knowledge with regard to this technology. That means how they will be good engineers, technocrats. But what they are doing, they are providing all sort of information. Everything was there. When we visited with the impression that it must be good institute in engineering and technology, but when we visited, we found all those disciplines are there. When we're talking about this multidisciplinary approach, 64 college, that art, singing, dancing, painting, and discipline knowledge, all the disciplines, and sports, everything was there. That means they want their intention. You see, president of the country is the president of that center, and the principal of that school will directly talk to the president, because they are identifying the talents and retaining the talent, and very good tie-up with the industries. Because now NEP talking about that internship, there should not be any gap. What is the expectation of industry? What is the expectation of business houses? And what education we are providing to our students? There should not be any gap. That should be proper integration that they are doing. So we have to learn from that. So that is why there is a need of this interdisciplinary understanding. And the fourth one, what we need now? Our Honorable Prime Minister is highlighting on this. We are talking about startup India, digital India, skill India, make in India. What is the meaning of this? What education we are providing for students? Do you think that it will cater to that expectation? We are doing spoon feeding. We are preparing our students for the examination. With this intention, if we continue our higher education, then it will be a failure. That is why there is need of introducing this innovation. Now we are talking about innovation, startup, talking about entrepreneurship. Let students take some initiative. Let them do something. Let them get opportunity to exhibit their talent. And that we can do if we bring about a transformation in our pedagogical process. If we make our classroom more vibrant, it's nothing, only it is in our hand. Without any investment, we can do that. Without any investment, we can make our student creative. Just we bring about a change in our mindset. We are talking about this entrepreneurial mindset. And how can we do that? Let them explore. Let them create something. Let them get opportunity to exhibit their talent. Just we facilitate. We have been propagating this constructivist idea. What is this? Let students take initiative. Let them come out with some new ideas, innovative ideas. When we are talking about innovation, we are talking about research, what we are doing? We are doing research for the sake of research. We are doing innovation for the sake of innovation. And there is a need of doing research, doing innovation to address the need of the society. And when we are talking about all this, that means we have to bring about change in our approach, in our mindset. And we have to integrate skills. Because we are using Russian, Korean products. Why? Korea became independent in 1947, India became independent in 1947. Both the countries were developing countries during that time. So now Korea is a developed country, small country. We all are using Korean products. And why it is happening? Because we have neglected vocational education. We have neglected skills. We feel it is for the students who are not doing well in academics. It is for the students who are coming from low socioeconomic background. But that is why policy has taken cognizance of this fact. Every student, before completion of school education, has to acquire mastery over at least one vocation. So that is, and similarly, there will be vertical mobility in higher education. Also, we are going to integrate this. So this is the fourth aspect that we have to keep in mind as a teacher. How can we make our students entrepreneurs? Similarly, in a teacher education institution, when we are preparing teacher, and our teachers should know that. Teachers should know what is the purpose. It is not only to teach mathematics or science. We have to take care of their holistic development. We have to make them entrepreneur. We have to make them good citizen. We have to make them good human being. So that is why that type of vision we should keep in mind, keeping in view the vision of NEP 2020. This is the need of our. Then another thing, what problem we are facing? Professor Pradhan was highlighting on this. What problem we are facing in our society? What we need? We need a change in our attitude. We need a change in our mindset. And what type of competency? It is not only the mastery over the content or the subject or intellectual competence. We need social competence. We need character competence. That has been highlighted by International Bureau of Education. But what exactly we can say? We need social, emotional, and ethical competence. Social, emotional, ethical competence, because we have to make them good human beings. That is why NEP has recommended, even in our IIT is the best institution, they should teach social science. They should teach humanities. Why? Because we have to make them good human beings first. Then they will be good engineer, good doctors, or whatever it may be in professional institutions. So that is why our approach should be interdisciplinary, and so that we can develop their social, emotional, and ethical competence. This is the need of our. Only by making it interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, we can do that. So this should be focus. How to develop this emotional competence? Because what is happening? When we are students, I remember we didn't have that type of stress or depression. We don't bother for examination at that time during our days. But now you think how much stress we are giving to our children, and how to overcome this stress, how to overcome this depression. Students are undergoing depression, committing suicide, because we are not making them emotionally stable. We are not making them socially strong. They are not ethically strong. So that is why that type of culture, that type of institutional culture we have to create, so that our student will be socially, emotionally, and ethically strong. that ethical competence we need, that emotional competence we need, because this is the need of our. You take the example, how many of your friends who were doing well in school, but they are not doing well in higher education, because they have high IQ, even who are committing suicide in Kota, the IIT aspirants, they have high IQ. What is lacking? They don't have high EQ. So EQ is more important. So how do we have to keep in mind how to make our student emotionally strong? What type of environment we should create inside the classroom? It is not about only the structure. What type of environment we should create? What type of institutional culture we should create so that student will feel at home, they will feel comfortable, and they will develop fellow feeling, belongingness. And that is why NEP is talking about sport integrated learning, art integrated learning. Why? What is the purpose? So that students will participate in different activities. We can take care of their multiple intelligence. We can provide them education as per their need, as per their interest, as per their aptitude. And really, they will develop the competencies which will help them to adjust effectively in the changing scenario. That social, emotional, ethical competency is the need of our. And along with that, what more we need? You know, India has signed a global agenda in 2015. You might be knowing. In 2015, India has signed the global agenda. By 2030, we have to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. This is the target. NEP was released on 2020, and India had signed this agreement in 2015. Now it is 26 and we have 4 more years. Can we achieve that goal? Now we are talking about adaptability. We are talking about lifelong learning. So that we have to keep in mind in 21st century what we need. We have to develop that adaptability. Our students should be in a position to adapt to the changing scenario. Because we do not know what type of job, Professor Pradhan was talking about fourth industrial revolution, what type of job will be available in future, we do not know. So they should be in a position to adopt that, and they should learn, relearn, and this is time, and that we continuously, not only students but teachers, so all the professionals, they should renew their knowledge, they should refresh their knowledge. That is why there is need of this adaptability and lifelong learning orientation in higher education. Lifelong learning orientation, that we cannot do everything through physical mode. That is why we have to take the help of this open and distance learning. If really we want to provide this lifelong learning opportunity to all, then we have to strengthen our digital system. We have to develop that backbone, and we have to provide that opportunity to all the professionals to renew and refresh their knowledge, and our students ultimately can take advantage of that. So these are the things what we need to really transform our higher education, and that will bring about change, and that will make our country a developed country, and we can really make our country a knowledge superpower. Because Professor Pradhan was highlighting the vision of this policy. What is the vision? It is clearly mentioned. Policy has envisioned a system of education rooted in Indian ethos, which will directly transform India into an equitable, vibrant knowledge society, as a result of which India will become a knowledge superpower. We can make our country a knowledge superpower if we take care of all these dimensions. And there is a lot of diversity in our country, that is our strength, not weakness, but a lot of disparity, lot of discrimination. Our students coming from different regions, geographically remote areas, culturally disadvantaged group, Divyang children, economically disadvantaged group, transgender. So different categories of learners are there. How can we provide them quality education, as a result of which India, we can create an equitable and vibrant knowledge society? That is a big challenge before us. That is a big challenge. Students who are coming from remote areas, basic facilities are not there. And how can we reach them? So that is a big challenge before us. us. Then we are talking about, if you see the vision, in the vision, we are talking about fundamental duties. Why not fundamental rights? That we have to critically analyze. Policy talking about fundamental duties. That means our curriculum and pedagogy must develop a deep sense of respect among the students towards fundamental duties. Why fundamental duties? Duties and constitutional values. It is not related to cognitive domain. It is related to feeling. It is related to affective domain. So that is why as a teacher, educator, it is our moral responsibility to strengthen the affective domain of our children. Let them feel for others. Let them feel their responsibility as a citizen of this country, as a student of this institute, as a teacher of this institute. We all should feel our moral responsibility. And we should be conscious of our duties. We all fight for our rights. We know what are the rights, but we have forgotten our duties and responsibilities. So that is why policy is talking about. And with regard to this, policy is, if you see the national curriculum framework, is talking about institutional culture. Policy is also talking about institutional culture in that inclusive section. That we have to create a different culture. What type of relationship we have with our students? We cannot develop the emotional and social competency without bringing about change in our institutional culture, because our students are observing us. Students are observing us. We are the role model before them. So what role we are playing, how we are talking to them, and what sort of relationship we have with our students, and what type of relationship we have with the community, what type of relationship we have with the parents, and all the stakeholders. That matters. So that will help us to develop the emotional competence among the students. They should feel comfortable. That is why we have to bring out change in the institutional culture. This is the need of our. And in the vision, one thing I will tell, and I will stop, is going to be 12:15. By policy in the vision, it is clearly mentioned that we have to instill a deep sense of pride in being Indian. Pride among the students in being Indian. What does it mean? We all Indians are sitting here. Why policy talking about this? Developing, instilling a deep sense of pride in being Indian. What does it mean? Indian in true sense. Indian not only in blood and color, Indian in spirit, Indian in intellect, and Indian in deed, Indian in action. So why policy is highlighting on this? Because it is because of the Macaulay Minute, what was the intention, and that is why policy has highlighted this. So keeping in view this vision, and we have, policy has recommended some guiding principles, fundamental guiding principles that that is, we're talking about holistic multidisciplinary education, talking about no hard separation, talking about equity and inclusion, talking about learning outcome. That is, this is the best. If you see the essence of the policy, we are talking about equity and outcome. Equity, not equality. Provide the facility as per the need of the students. And outcome, focus should be on outcome, not on the score, not on the mark, the competency, skill, what they need in 21st century. So that is why, keeping in view the vision, policy has given some guiding principles, and accordingly there is change in the structure both in school education and higher education. And overall, we are talking about now this multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary approach in higher education, because it will really bring about a change in this rigid system, and we can introduce it not only in teaching learning process but in research, multidisciplinary research to address the need of the society. It is not disciplinary research just for the API, it is a multidisciplinary research to address the need of the society, to prepare our students to face the challenges of the society, and how effectively others can take advantage of our research. That should be our concern. That is why a lot of focus on research. So these are the some of the things that has been highlighted by the policy. If really we want to implement the recommendation of policy, then we have to first bring about change in our mindset. Whatever, it is not that something will come from the heaven. We are sitting here in DPIASE, and what we can do to implement the recommendation of policy. What type of change we can bring about in our classroom to make our student more creative, to make our student introduce this multidisciplinary approach when they will be teachers? How can we make our approach interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary? So all the things what is there, if we implement in our institute at our level, then we'll be successful. Otherwise, you will expect something will come, then we'll do, nothing will happen. But if I can bring about change in the life of a single student, then that is great. So that is why what we can do at the level, that we should do. That is the expectation of this seminar, because we are deliberating. But now time has come, we will deliberate and we have to implement. If we can implement, then this seminar will be successful. If we cannot implement, we'll go on delivering, then the seminar will be of no value. So that is why we have devoted 2 days. Now time has come, listen to all the speakers, try to implement what you have learned during this seminar. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I feel privileged. Principal Professor Pradhan has invited me, and I am also grateful to all the faculty of this institute, all the students of this institute. You have listened to me, so thank you, and hope we'll do something to take our country to a new height. Thank you. Thank you.
अशेष अशेष धन्यवाद प्रोफेसर सेनापति महोदय। शिक्षा पद्धति रे किए केते नंबर रखिला ता बड़ कथा नुहे, मात्र सामग्रिक विकास केते होई पारला ताहाको आधार करी एकविंश शताब्दी रे ये प्रतियोगितापूर्ण परिस्थिति रे धंदामूलक शिक्षा को आधार करी किपरि